I'm going to talk about a couple of things. There's a lot of hot topics out, mental health and behavioral health, goals. What I want to talk about is specifically is, people having their own truth. Like people say, hey, you never walked in my shoes, or people, have like their own personal shoes or their own personal reality. And I'm going to just talk about how that sets your whole entire life up for failure because that's not realistic. But I want to actually point out some things in case you're probably doing that because it is a very big deal because it takes away the common ground when you have your own personal reality, um, and you're dealing with regular reality. All of us, we're in reality, like actual reality. And then when you make up your own reality in your head, you remove the common ground if someone's trying to have a discussion with you because the standards are whatever you want them to be in your head, and other people can't connect with that. And so that breeds a lot of expectations. Yeah, that's right, Frost. It's very important to understand this. And so the main thing that made me kind of start talking about this is I just noticed a lot of people wear headphones all the time. People go to the gym and they throw their headphones on. They drive, they blast their music, not aware of their surroundings. You know, and so I'm just like, man, like there's this whole earth, there's this whole life, there's other people, there's the birds chirping, there's all kind of things that are out there, and people continue to put headphones in, always putting headphones in, and it's like, oh, I'm in my zone. Why why who said that you're supposed to do that? Oh, I just want to concentrate. Why? And that's where we get to a couple of roots of things, because that's really no different than somebody going to, because it's escapism, you know? I look like a guy that hangs out with Kendrick Lamar. That's what's up. Salute, Mike. But yeah, and so when people have their own reality, it's very dangerous because nothing, like their accountability can't grab it. Like accountability in reality can't be applied to your personal reality in your head. And so that's where you have relationships failing and marriages failing, parents and children falling out because there's not a common ground. And so I'm going to give you guys some examples. And so the number one thing is like when people have headphones in, they spend, hours on video games. All these things are not reality. It's just virtual reality. You listening to a song is an audio recording of something that was from before that moment. It's not right now. That's why they call right now the present. And a lot of people, they're not present. They're not alert. They're in the past or in the future, but they're not here right now. You see a lot of people where you have to honk at them in front of you because they're going, their mind's going. And I have compassion on people at, like, stoplights, where the light turns green and they're just still sitting there, and you're like, yo, go, and you got to beat. But it's like, you don't know if that person, like, honestly, if that person just lost somebody, that person just lost their job, or that person just has a bill they don't know how they're going to pay, and they just zoned out for a moment at the red light, and then it turned green, and they just had a lot on their mind, and it took them like 6 or 7 seconds to, or a horn honk to snap back into reality, you know. But the thing is, it's still dysfunctional and not appropriate to be zoning out from reality to your own place that you think is your safe space or whatever you think you created in your head. And so, like that, for example, you see people that are stuck at red lights, or you see somebody in a checkout line and they didn't scoot up when the other person's done. They got a lot of stuff on their mind. But the thing is, the stuff that's on your mind is because you're digging in the past or thinking about the future, and you're not present. Right now, the present is a gift from God all the time because you don't have to have a present. You can be gone. And so people are not necessarily being aware of the present time, and that breeds all these mental health problems, the personality disorders, and the bipolar and OCD and uh, NPD, narcissistic, personality disorder, um, you know, borderline, and all these other things that are mental disorders because people are playing around in their head, and nothing they're talking about or relating to or trying to describe is in reality right now where other people can relate. And so when we are used to fantasy and being in our head and zoning out and putting headphones in, it again, it makes you void of like regular reality. And so, like with a relationship, you guys may have experienced this in relationships where you have unrealistic expectations put on you by somebody, or people that think you're a mind reader. Well, you just should have known. And like, hey, newsflash, what you are thinking about is in your head, and guess where I'm not. I'm not in your head. I'm in outside your head in regular reality, and you're gonna have to come into regular reality so we can actually dialogue and have a common denominator. And so, like, this is a burrito I'm eating, and so it's like if me and you look at this burrito, and I'm looking at this burrito and I'm describing it, but you make up a burrito in your head based on things that have happened to you and what your mom taught you, or this and that, all these other things that are in your head. And to you, burritos are taquitos, and no one can tell you different because that's in your head and you're right. That is unrealistic expectations. And now when I'm describing a burrito to you, we're never going to have a common ground. And that's a minuscule argument right there over a burrito. I'm like, man, that's a cool burrito. And I'm looking at the one that's in front of both of us, and we both have eyes. And you're like, well, that's who says that's a burrito? People do that with the gender thing. Hey, well, I identify as this and that. That's pretending and trying to make your personal reality um, be projected into regular reality, which, guess what? You don't own reality to be able to do that, you know? And so when you are trying to impose your personal reality into regular reality, it just always causes trouble and problems because you can't be held accountable if you can't see the standard, because you're void of accountability, realistic accountability. And so maybe, I'm not sure if you guys have had breakups, or somebody just was very unrealistic in their expectations of you, or you may have had a troubled childhood, and that kind of gives you these different triggers that you have. Hey, don't talk that loud to me. I used to get yelled at when I was a kid, or don't do fireworks because I grew up in the hood and heard gunshots, or I went and served in the army. Different things. These things are a threat to you being cognitive of reality, and you will more than likely develop a personality disorder. Next thing you know, you're in some therapy or clinic getting diagnosed that you have such and such disorder, and that you need help or something. You need prescriptions and all that. It's like, yeah, because your reality is altered, and it's not able to be held accountable because it's whatever you make it. And so that's what you want to practice. They even tell you in a lot of counseling, practice mindfulness, mindfulness exercises to be present. Because when you go into fantasy land, and you have a lot of women, they grew up, and like early teenagers, they're watching soap operas or watching different movies about dudes cheating, and they just form that as their reality in their head. Even people that are singing Usher songs and stuff like that, and the lyrics do not apply to them, but they're singing them like they've been in it. um Let It Burn and these different songs, and they're singing it as if they're there, but it's not their reality. What's up, Inspirational Ministry? Good evening. And so again, you have people that have these unrealistic expectations that they made up in their head. So you have like a somebody that all they seen is cheating and stuff and love and hip hop, and they've never had their own relationship. They've just lived it virtually in fantasy land and in made up Hollywood shows. Then when they get a partner or they start dating, next thing you know, they're like, who else you talking to? And somebody like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, I know you can't play me, and I seen the red flags and just all these projected things out of your head that don't exist in reality. No one did anything to you. No one's talking to anyone else. These are just things that build. You build your own reality in your head of fantasy, and then like the Instagram goals. You have people that they're looking at Instagram goals and like, oh, look at this house, look at this person makes this much. How come you don't make that much? Or how come I don't make that much? You get disappointed with your own self because of fantasy and social media posts that are not even real. People with the making money phones, a whole wad of money like a phone, and you look in your account, you got like $70 or $14, and it's like, well, why me and all this pity party? Because you're comparing reality to your fantasy in your head, which is why you got to take the headphones off. Cut out binge watching Netflix and working. Like when you go to the gym, don't use headphones. Just work out here. There's other humans. Maybe somebody needs a word or some encouragement in the gym. You may make a lifelong friend of somebody working out next to you in the gym, but not if you got to get in the zone and throw your headphones on and concentrate and block everything out. God gave you another day on earth within all the stuff around you. Experience it. Exercise your five senses, or else you're going to be enslaved by your five senses. And that's what these corporations do. They enslave you with your own five senses, your touch, smell, hearing, and sight. And what it is they use colors and advertisements and buzzwords and ads and uh, promotions and sales and all these things. And all the imagery on these ads are to cater to your five senses. They studied your five senses more than you have. Sigmund Freud, Edward Bernays, Google them. These are the fathers of propaganda. They created it. And when you don't get used to using your own five senses because you want to be in the zone and keep headphones on all day, and then when you take them off, you're like, oh, stuff's too loud, or there's too many people around. I'm an introvert, or it's too much. Oh, bad vibes, and oh, energy, and oh, you got a bad energy over here, and all this unrealistic stuff because you don't exercise your five senses on your own. And so you really need to stop using headphones all the time and be in reality. When you go to the gym, I challenge you, don't bring any headphones. Just hear. Or if you take a long ride, if you take a plane trip, don't use headphones. Just hear. If you're driving, turn your radio down and roll the windows down and just take in life, take in the atmosphere, because you are going to be able to master your environment, or else your environment's going to master you and victimize you. And then when you're so unprepared to deal with reality around you, you're going to just be bullied by reality. Oh, and you're going to try to demand that people make accommodations for you. Like, oh, hey, don't talk that loud to me because this and this happened to me. Well, hey, did you heal though? Or do you just want to not heal, have a pity party, create an identity out of your trauma, and then force it down people's throat? Hey, don't talk like that because I this or because I that. We'll get over it, you know? Get over it. And so, give me one moment. I gotta eat some of this burrito because it's fire. But yeah, not sure if any of that makes sense to any of you guys, but feel free to ask questions if you want to come on live as well with me, or you got some questions, let me know. We can dialogue. But yeah, man, stop having headphones on all the time. Experience actual life and actual reality, and not fantasy and a head full of lyrics from somebody you don't know, talking about a life you don't live, that's nothing like yours, and then you're creating a reality out of that. Don't do that. you know um, Remove the headphones when you're in the gym. Stop putting blocking out the world, because every time you're putting on headphones and trying to block stuff out and get in your zone, when you take the headphones off and you're complaining, oh, I got anxiety and there's too much noise and there's too many people around and bad vibes and bad energy, because you refuse to actually use your five senses on your own. So, as I've been saying, if you take a long drive, roll the windows down, cut the music down, and just hear the other cars exhaust, hear um, car engines, hear birds chirping. When you're in the gym, if there's somebody next to you, like maybe they're going through a hard time and just need, maybe you might hear them like take a deep breath, or say something sad, and you're like, hey, you all right? You got something going on, or you want to talk? And you make a lifelong friend in the gym because you were present in reality right now, and not zoned out to some lyrics from somebody you don't know talking about a life that you don't live, and all this fantasy that people are zoning out into. They become un capable of dealing with reality. And so I use this example. It's like a person that doesn't know how to swim. Their whole life, they always avoided water instead of just getting in there and learning how to swim. So, from 4 years old, now they're like 7. What up, Nez? How you doing? But just, you have people that are afraid of water because they never learn how to swim, when they were 5 or 6, but now they're like, 32, and they just try to play it off or stay away from the edge of the pool at parties. But it's like, dude, that's the same with people that always use headphones and always zone out the music and always zone out to video games and entertainment. You're letting these mediums of entertainment arrest your five senses and get pumped full of stuff. And then when you take it off, you don't know how to use them yourself. And so you have panic attacks and anxiety, and you break down and have mental breakdowns. And, oh, I think this person's trying to play me, or this person never loved me in the first place. All this random fantasy stuff because you are not in. Oh, you're the headphone girl. Then as remove them. Be a human to people. You know, because again, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just that that's what this society wants you to do. They want you to not use your five senses yourself, so then they can use them for you. And when they use your five senses, they're going to fill you full of impulses. And then when you get full of impulses, you have a bunch of desires. Every ad you see online or in person or billboard, it's catering to your senses, your sight. Or you have McDonald's, they blow out the smell of McDonald's through their chimney out into the atmosphere, so somebody could be driving and be like, man, that smells good, I want McDonald's. You didn't want it 3 minutes ago, but they arrested one of your senses and got you to go do what they want, and make merchandise out of you and make you into a sale. Yeah, I get it. One thing that this is the thing that I've learned actually recently, because blocking, that's the thing. It's like your way to protect yourself from men approaching you, right? Now check this out. And this, I'm from the hoods, and there's a lot of dangerous things, and so you try to be cautious and wise. But at the end of the day, when we say God is our provider, He either is or isn't, and you can't help Him provide for you. If God is your protector, He either is or isn't, and you can't help Him protect you. So you don't focus on your protection. That's not your job. So I say that to say we are not to put up boundaries or block people out. We don't control what comes towards us. What we control and what we're supposed to control is what we go towards. You know, we control what we go toward. There's things that, like Adam and Eve, for example, they were not supposed to go towards that tree, right? Exactly. It's a lot of unlearning, and it's great that you even know that. Is because we're programmed. This society wants us dead because we look like our father. Like those crazy. I don't know if you know about a lot of evil women, and they just abuse the kid because it looks like his dad, and she just hates the dad, and the kid ain't got nothing to do with it, and they just that's what this world does to us. It just tries to abuse us and manipulate us and pour stuff in us because we look like our father. Jesus came down, and guess what? He looked like his father. What did they do? They killed him. This world hates God, and so it wants to distract you from, like, God put you here. Like, God literally put you on the earth to be here. Why block out everything that He put you in the middle of? You know. But again, that it's a new way of thinking. I've been just God's been just showing me this stuff recently. I don't use headphones at the gym. I literally I'll be there 3 hours, completely aware and alert, hearing everything. And oh, excuse me, oh hey, you don't, and just hearing people, and it's like, and driving, people, me, I'll blast music, put my windows up, and just be in the zone. Somebody could be honking at me. It can be all kind of stuff, and I'm not aware. And again, you have to be present because today is a gift. There's people that didn't make it today. So today's the present. So if you want to be in the present, you can't be in the past or in the future in your head. And that's what people do, is they are in the past. And I brought this up earlier. I'm not sure if you were on earlier, but if you're driving, you have people that are at red lights, and they may have a lot going on. And I have compassion a lot, but like people may have something going on, and they're at the red light, and then it turns green and they don't notice it. So they're zoned out, you know, it takes them like 6 seconds, and you almost miss the light because of them, because they're zoned out and not paying attention. But it's like they may have a heavy heart that day. They may have just lost somebody earlier that day. They may have just lost their job, or may have just gotten a bill in the mail that they don't know how they're going to pay, or they just missed somebody. Then they were just sitting there zoned out at the green light, and it took a little horn beep to bring them back to reality and into the present, to go and turn and not be sitting there making everybody late. But again, that person was either thinking about the past or the future in their head and not in the present. That's why you have to take control of your mind and stop dwelling on the past or the future. Oh, what you got, Nez? This mic is probably picking up me chewing. Exactly. That's because there's expectation, you know? There's expectations that we get from people. What up, D? There's expectations that we get from things that are not reality. Again, like I see, like that people, you have people that have seen movies and internet posts, and the whole picket fence life, and so they look at fantasy, look at their real life, and they develop expectations for this fantasy they saw that never was a part of their life in the first place. So then when it doesn't happen, you're like, how come I don't have XYZ that I saw in Fantasyland? Or how come this person didn't treat me like XYZ? No one has to treat you any kind of way like that. And that's the harsh reality, is that, so hopefully you don't stay exhausted, in life, Nez, but the reality is no one has to treat you any kind of way. No one owes you anything. No one has to cater to you. No one has to tiptoe around your triggers. You can tell somebody, hey, please don't talk that loud to me because I used to get yelled at when I was 5 and it really does something to me. That person rightfully doesn't have to listen to you and say, I can talk however I want. You don't own reality and I don't need to accommodate you. And that's the harsh reality. But when you understand that no one owes you anything and no one has to treat you a certain way, you don't expect that. And guess what, though? This is the kicker. When you don't expect that and you're not entitled to certain treatment, every nice gesture from somebody is way more appreciated. You're like, oh, wow, thank you. You didn't have to do that. Wow. Because entitlement is the enemy of favor. When you expect something or you think you deserve some sort of treatment, no one can treat you like kind because you're supposed to do that. I'm a princess or I'm a king. Like, who told you you were supposed to be treated like that? Fantasyland, movies, Instagram posts. How come I don't get hugged like that on a yacht looking at the sunset? Or because that's Fantasyland and it's not real. You know, what's your current life? And whatever your current life is, be present in it to build it. You can't build your current life when you're busy building a fake life on Instagram or in a video game or living. And so, yeah, treat others like yourself, you know? And so that's a commandment, but the thing is not that's to his children. Not this is just general information I'm giving you. Where I come from, there's not a whole bunch of you can't have that standard on unbelievers. When you go into the supermarket or into the gym, no one walked in there and got asked, are you a servant of Jesus Christ and you believe what he said? And then go in there. No, again, no one owes you anything. No one owes you to be treated like they would treat themselves. That's literally completely backwards. And that's where when people start to realize that, they're like, dude, I've been expecting people to treat me all these ways. And they're grown adults with no umbilical cord attached to me or remote control. They're independent of me. Nothing I say matters, and none of my requests they have to honor. They're an adults and they're their own person. You do not deserve to be accommodated, you know? And so, the those things, when you really sit and think, like, what what like, where am I getting my expectations from? Now, as you said, and as it is best to get your standards from the Bible, you know, that's a great move to, hey, because you have somewhere to point to. Because that's the other thing. Like, you didn't say, I get these standards from the internet, or because I saw somebody on Instagram post that this is the way that they treat their friends or they get treated. And it's like, that's dangerous. And that's what mostly I'm addressing is people are getting standards um, for others to abide by, but that they're making up out of thin air in their head. But guess what? The people you're talking to, or that we're talking about, they're not in your head. They're in a regular reality, and they can't see in your head. So when you I see a lot of marriages and relationships fail because there's unrealistic expectations from fantasy land in people's head, and it's like, well, they should have known to this. Well, did you say it? Did you put it into reality, or were they supposed to see in your head? Because that's impossible. And I see a lot of miscommunication happen because people are in their head, headphones on all the time, zoned out, music up when they're driving, can't hear other horns or other cars, or be alert and be in the present. Because, like I said, today is a gift from God, and other people didn't get today. Their life ended. But we have today, which is the present right now. And people are constantly thinking about the past or the future and not present. And so when you don't use your five senses to navigate the present, you get bullied by reality. Because reality is, if you're always blocking stuff out, a lot of times your life's not together. Like, that's why I stopped. I don't really use headphones much, you know, no problem, Nez. But it's like I do my best to be alert because sometimes, I get victimized by reality. Like reality tells me I only have this much money and I can't do this or that, or I'm this class of citizen. I'm not up here, and so I want to master this. So, like I said, like swimming, the person that jumps in the water and at first they're like trying to stay afloat, trying to make sure they don't swallow a bunch of water. But then after they start getting it, like, okay, okay. And then they are able to, keep themselves above water, start to swim a little bit. And next thing you know, they're backstroking. They got used to the water, and the water doesn't master them, they mastered the water. That's similar though. You use that water to symbolize reality. When you stay away from reality and zone out, you're like the person that always stays away from the pool. Like, as soon as we have a pool party or something, oh, I'm gonna just chill over here on the thing you lay on and act like you're just being cool, but really you don't know how to swim, and you never exercise that. So it's like people are not exercising their five senses because you block everything out with noise and headphones and movies and binge watch Netflix. And, oh, did you see this new show? Did you see this new post? And you follow my favorite Instagram influencer and my favorite songs. And it's like, I do rap. So it's like, I would love people to listen to my songs all the time, but I will also get on here and tell you stop listening to a whole bunch of music. While I kind of, it would benefit me if you do listen to my music. But it's like, I would rather you have your life together and exercise your your five senses, because if you don't exercise your five senses, these corporations are going to use your five senses for you and remote control you into their stores to buy their stuff and remote control you into their restaurants and to their fast food. And like I said, McDonald's, they push out them little smells out of their chimney, and then it goes into your sense of smell, and you're like, oh, driving, like, oh, I need McDonald's. You didn't need it 3 minutes ago, but McDonald's sent a little trap into your sense of smell and pulled you over there. That's why you have to have that self discipline. And then you saw something, you saw a billboard. Oh, look at this new phone or this purse or these new Jordans. And you're like, man, I need those. But you didn't need them before you saw that. And so again, you get victimized. Exactly. You get victimized by these corporations and desires because you don't master your own five senses. And that's what advertisements are for. They're for your five senses. And then, like, political views, they're pushing, abortion and same sex and trans this and all that. And people are like, well, in my head, I identify as air fryer. You will refer to me as air fryer. It's like, bro, that's not reality. That's in your head. Guess where I'm not? In your head. That's where I'm not. I'm outside your head. And that demand I don't have to honor because you don't control me. I control me. I don't need to use my mouth or anything to refer to you as something you think you are inside your head only. Outside your head and in your body, your anatomy says you're this gender or that gender, regardless of what you tell me. You know, exactly. And that's, don't, like I said, it's opposite of the culture today, because the culture tells you to get in the zone and focus and crush your goals and block out everything and have a laser focus and all that, which is cool, but you don't need to block out your surroundings. It may be somebody that, you're walking down the street, and somebody falls or something, or somebody says look out, and you can't hear him because you're on the second verse of some song from somebody you don't know, talking about a life that you don't live. Is fantasy, and you're just pumping your head full of all this stuff. And then, be present, like master the present, and then you can master the world around you. That's what, number one, God told Adam, subdue the earth. You need to have dominion on it. Jesus, he told waves to stop. He told rain to stop. He told storms, be still. He dominated reality, and he dominated his surroundings. He controlled his five senses. He fasted. He didn't listen to stuff. He didn't, all these different things. He was very disciplined, and he mastered his five senses. We just let everything in us and then block stuff out. And it's like, you can't, you're gonna not be able to function. You're gonna not know how to swim And then, since you don't know how to swim, you try to demand that people accommodate your triggers. Oh, hey, well, this happened to me when I was little, so don't do that around me. You don't own me. It's sad. You can have compassion on people and give them, grace and, all right, you know what, I won't do that. But the reality is no one owes you any accommodations. Oh, my mom died or this and that. Can you, like, nope. We all live in the same reality, and you figure it out, because God is a healer. So if God is a healer, at some point you get healed. Duh. You can't be healing for 15 years. At some point, the ing becomes an ed. If not, maybe you're not trusting God enough, or your vision, or you can't hear God because you're blasting headphones all day and blasting rap music and country music and Spanish music, whatever music you listen to, or binge watching entertainment. And so it's like, literally gain control of your five senses. Be present. Be aware of everything around you. Like I said, when you take a drive, roll the windows down, turn the music off, and just talk to God. Listen to the truck transmission going out next to you at the red light. Listen to the motorcycle pass by. All this annoying stuff. But guess what? Embrace it. Because if you always block it out, when there's a time you can't block it out, what's it going to do? It's going to trigger you. Oh, that's too much, man. Stupid loud motorcycles, or this, and that. And it's going to spin you into some cycle of frustration and all that. Because again, it's like you dancing around going into the pool at the pool party because you refuse to learn how to swim. And now you are being a party pooper for other people and demanding that hey, don't get me wet. And bro, we're at a pool party. We all getting wet. Well, we got to act different just for you. We can't have fun because you refuse to heal and get over your own personal reality. There is no such thing as your reality and your truth. There's just truth and then how you see it. There's not truth and then your truth, or your personal truth, or your shoes. Oh, it's walk a mile in my shoes. You don't have shoes. You're just a person that's in the reality that everyone else is in. That is all figuring it out. You don't get a special treatment, that, because if you think you get special treatment, this evil world's not going to give it to you. And then you're going to feel offended and let down and abused and all these various things because you thought you were entitled to some sort of treatment, and even like, as a me being from the hood, it's like, I don't trust nothing. I'm watching my surroundings. I'm like, hey, nobody better move funny around me. Nobody better be reaching or doing all this stuff. And because that makes me uncomfortable. They don't owe me comfort. I have to adjust, and I have to be realistic and put my stuff to the side and be like, hey, the reality is people can do whatever they want. No one has, people don't even owe you respect. No one has to respect you. They don't. They can choose to, but they don't have to. And that's the reality. No one owes you respect. Nobody has to hold a door open for you. No one has to say bless you when you sneeze. They don't. And if you actually adjusted and made that your reality, when somebody did do those things, you'd be like, wow, thank you. It would have way more impact instead of like, I knew you were going to say bless you. I knew you were going to hold the door open for me because you're supposed to. That sucks for that person that's trying to be kind, and their kindness has zero impact on you, you know? Jeez. Yeah, he got respect here and there, but ultimately they hated him. They were jealous of him. They envied him, and they wanted to kill him. You know, and so that's the reality. And but he was okay with it too. He was like, "Hey, you can't do that to me." You know. He's like, they slapped him, pulled his beard out. He literally could have just killed them all, or just called angels down, or just shot them all with blindness. He could have defended himself. You know, he didn't. Like I said, we don't. Like, literally, like, if you get anything from me tonight, you cannot in no way, shape, or form help God protect you. He's way stronger than you, doesn't need any assistance to do his job of being a protector of his sheep. So we don't need to have demands and boundaries like this world tells us. Protect your peace, look for red flags, have boundaries. If you put up boundaries and then somebody gets mad, that's because they were trying to manipulate you and they don't want you to have boundaries to protect yourself and they want to use you. Garbage, all garbage. And that's from the devil. That's not what God says. I have you. God says you're fearfully and wonderfully made. If you ever made something fearfully and wonderfully, you put it where no one can break it. If you made a science project or an ornament or something, you take care of it. God will take care of it. Anything that does, he allowed to happen to you, he allowed it. That's why if you read the book of Job, Job didn't really do anything wrong. It's just that God allowed those things to happen to him because that was his plan. But then when it was time for him to not be able to be touched anymore, God stopped it. But Job couldn't have saved himself or protected himself. Job could not in the book of Job, he could have not put up a single boundary that would have overridden what God was doing would be his deal with the devil to test Job. Job, like, I'm gonna put up a boundary so Satan can't do it. Like, your boundary is useless. You're not stronger than God or God's will. You do not, excuse me, you don't control what comes towards you. You control what you go towards. There's things that are off limits and we have no business going towards them. Exactly. That's literally what favor is. That's in my logo and everything. That's what I preach. God's favor on you is all you need to have because you can't do your purpose if you're focusing on survival and safety. That's why that hedge of protection should, like, if you go to the gym, when you haven't worked out in a long time and if you bench press or something, half your strength is going to not wobbling. Some of it's going to just pushing up, but some of it is you're trying to like stabilize and not go all the way this way or all the way that way. And, but if you realize God had the left and right handle and all you can do is just push up with all your might, that would have way more impact. And that's the thing is God said, don't think about food and clothing because the birds don't. The birds just live. I'll fly around and God's going to provide a worm somewhere. God's going to provide an ant. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do, fly around, and then the things will be added. It said, seek first the kingdom and all these will be added, not seek first red flags. Seek first protect your peace. That's garbage. And therapists say that to you so they can keep you as a customer because that drives you insane. You cannot protect yourself. Have you seen this world has, like, drive past a graveyard. I bet you a ton of the people in there died from trauma, like had aneurysms or had some kind of anxiety or thing that blew their heart up or it broke down their organs because they were under so much stress and having heart attacks and all these things. This world is brutal. Your finite little boundaries and they don't work, so why have them? Well, that's the thing. How do you heal from trauma? No, not necessarily. It's just like God gives us examples by just like regular wounds. And you look at, if you cut yourself and you look at over a period of a few weeks, it starts to, close up and then get a scab and then it may leave a scar and that takes, some weeks or, maybe some months and then it's healed. That happens, but it's just like the thing is, you are supposed to be doing your purpose. But those help deliverance, fasting, and praying. Those are there too because Jesus did it. There's people that were clinically blind or clinically deaf, and he healed them. So healing can come instantaneously. And never rule that out. And fasting is very key. But the thing is, healing from trauma, because again, what is trauma? Like, what is it? The definition, or what trauma actually is, it means injury. It's an injury. So we like to equate the injury, or the, like, say, if somebody, like you've seen on movies, or if you even in real life, where there's an autopsy, or somebody looking at a person that is deceased, and they're looking at what happened. They're like, oh, they had blunt force trauma to the head, or they had trauma to the rib cage. They got hit. The trauma is the actual hit. It's the blow. It's the injury. Now, after that happened, then there's the wound and the pain. The wound and the pain are not the trauma. And that's where people think, oh, I'm in a condition of trauma. No, you're not. The trauma already happened. The traumatic experience been gone. Just like the person that got hit in the jaw, that happened in 1 second. Now your jaw may be still hurting 3 weeks from now, but that's not trauma. That's just pain from a trauma. You know, amen, D. Your forgiveness as well. You know why? Like, and that's a great point, D. Entitlement. The number one thing you're going to, the number one thing that'll hold you back from forgiving people is entitlement. They shouldn't have done that to me. Who are you? Why? Why shouldn't they have done that to you? Now, we all know what decency is. And people shouldn't spit on you or shove you or steal your money or breaking your, like, other things people shouldn't do. But if they do, like, you holding a grudge about it only hurts your own health and messes up your own life. So entitlement is probably the number one reason people can't forgive, because you feel somebody shouldn't have done something because you're above what they did to you. And then that's a self problem that people have to iron out. Who do you think you are? And we all have to ask ourselves that. Who did this world sow seeds into my head that I am? Like, who did this world tell me I am, and how I should be treated? To where when somebody does something to me and acts not in a way that I felt I was entitled to, I'm like, oh no, they're gonna learn. They don't never have access to me again, and I'm never gonna do this and that for them. And if they're in trouble, I'm not helping them no more. And I'm not gonna be like Christ would be. I'm not gonna show them the love of God. I'm not gonna do. Because of my entitlement. Now I'm also gonna be ungodly. That's crazy. That's like really crazy. All this stuff I'm just literally saying right now, and I'm mesmerizing my own self because this is crazy. Like, a lot of the things I'm saying, they're just coming to my head like right now as I'm talking. But yeah, people are one of the biggest things about being not able to forgive is because you are entitled, and entitlement is the enemy of favor. Like, if you walk into a fast food restaurant for a burger, and one of your friends works there, and you walk in and you order a burger, and you're like, yo, I'm gonna get a burger. They're like, hey, you know what? I got you. And they just shoot you one. You're like, oh man, thanks, man. Thanks for the favor. Like, literally favor. Like, they just boom, and I was kind. But if you go in there like, hey man, like, you the homie, man, hook it up. Give me a free one. And the homie like, man, I can't do it. Oh man, see, if I would have did it if I was you. That entitlement. You can't, and then say they end up doing it anyway. Well, you know what? I'm gonna here. Just stop complaining. But here's the burger for free. That wasn't favor. You asked for that, so you felt entitled to it, and now it removes the favor. Entitlement, like, literally, if we were entitled to salvation, oh, we'd be in bad shape, because there would be no room for grace and favor, because we're saved by favor and grace. God did us a favor and reached down in the pit of our destruction and our ignorance and our sin, pulled us out. We were like, hey, what's taking so long, God? Why don't you save us? We're worthy of it. You see, we're all down here stuck. What's going on with you? Are you ignorant? You're blind? You can't hear us? Get us out of this. And then he did it. You're like, yeah, it took you long enough. That's crazy. And entitlement is the enemy of grace and favor. You can't be so entitled. And again, if you're struggling with forgiveness, it's probably rooted in entitlement, which is just like we have blind spots. Sometimes you're probably like, I never really thought about that. Maybe I do feel a little more entitled than I should be. But we all, it's like a check engine light on a car. Sometimes that check engine light has to come on, and you got to just kind of self-examine. Go in the shop for a bit, go do some fasting and praying. Oh, good question. As so, this is the thing: you have to spend time with God. The Bible says, like, uses the word know, like Know. You have to know God. That know in the Hebrew context means deep intimacy. Like there's ways like a husband and wife know each other that no one knows them the same way that like someone's father and mother, like a man's father and mother won't know him as much as his wife knows him because they're intimate. So there's an intimacy with God you have to have. When you know him and you see his character, it will reflect on you. And then it's like his glory and his character is like fire. It says God is a consuming fire. That fire will burn up the bad habits and purify you to where you're pure. Like you said earlier, that's about pure. And you know how you said you struggle to love people pure. That being in the presence of that God's fire of holiness, it will start to burn away all the improper behavior and the expectations and the resentment and the entitlement. Because was Jesus entitled or did he not? He literally, like, people spit in his face with the salival glands that he created. Like, he created these people's salival glands that they used to spit on him. They shouted, kill him, with the vocal cords that he created in them. I'll tell Sophia, I said, what's up? And so, like, Jesus got disrespected like, we could never fathom the disrespect is because he got disrespected as creator, literally undeserving. Like, when we're entitled, we think we're something that we're not. Jesus actually was who he thought he was and all those things and still humbled himself. So it's like if you ever have got like a payday loan or something, they have those in the hood. I'm not sure where you're at, Nez, if they have those, or I know you probably know about them, D. But like people that are in the hood and they need a payday loan, they know that they're gonna charge them 500 percent interest. Like a regular loan, you get charged like 5% interest, maybe 20%. A payday loan literally is like 300 to 500% interest. You borrow 200, you got to like pay back like 600 over time, weekly. They know that because of their position. Like people in the hood, they know they're poor and they're not like, well, why are you charging me that? They know, like, yeah, I'm poor and I'm in the hood and I don't have money and I'm going to submit to all your prerequisites or whatever you say, I'm going to submit to it because they know. When you are in the hood and you're trying to get a payday loan, but you're going in there like, hey, well, why is the interest so high and how come? Like, because you need this. Who do you think you are? You know? So it's like act your wage, they say, and then it's like we all deserve death. We literally have done things that are punishable by execution. And every day that we literally open our eyes out of the bed, God didn't have to allow us to open our eyes. Could have, you know, had that the other date, and the birth date, and then had the death date and a little dash in between. But God gave us a gift every day. And again, gifts should humble you because that means somebody else paid something and then didn't take advantage or pleasure in it. They gave it to you. If I buy me a banana split, then just give it to you, I don't get to enjoy it. I sacrificed it for you. And so you should be grateful that I did this favor. You can never be grateful with entitlement. Like literally, logically, try to play in your head right now if you can be entitled and grateful at the same time about something. If you're entitled to something, how could you be grateful for it if it's owed to you? And so these are the things that you have to really iron out within yourself. And again, me included, I'm dead. I'm dead. All the stuff I'm spewing right now, I have to live by this stuff. God be showing me this stuff, and then I have to be like, dang, somebody look at me crazy. Like, hey, bro, what you looking at? Take a picture. Stuff I want to say, but at the end of the day, maybe they think I'm somebody. Maybe I look like one of their passed away sons. Maybe, I don't know. Who am I to, be like, you shouldn't look at me, you know? Yeah, it's already in the works. I got some new ones dropping this week, you know, waiting on the shipment. Should have been here today, but they'll probably be here tomorrow or Thursday. But I got a lot of new things. But yeah, like we can't be entitled and we can't zone out. Like I'm telling you, like me, I've been going the last few months to the gym with no headphones at all. Oh, you're not interrupting me. I need people to talk. It's all good. I have the luxury of a microwave. Hopefully, it's probably not good to put on your food. Microwave radiation, but I'm gonna radiate this burrito. In a little while. But no, I came on because I want to talk. Like God gives me these things because I want to tell them to people because people are bound by their behavior. And I say this a lot, but in case you didn't know, let's break down what behavior is because behavior is the biggest thing in life right now. Because behavior is what you do. The biggest thing right now is behavioral health, mental health, and all these fake therapists and do this, protect your peace, and look for red flags, and then don't anybody shouldn't have access to you, all this stuff, and then that just messes up your behavior. But you have mental health, but then sometimes they reword it and they say behavioral health. So check this out. What is behavior? Like literally. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, it just gonna try to cut my live off right there when I. That's crazy. It sent me a notification. We're about to cut your live off, and so I just moved it. But so behavior is two words. It's be and have. Literally, that's what behave is. It's literally just two words put together. Be and have. That's what behavior means. Now, what is that? It literally means be as if you have everything you need. Like literally just picture how you would act if nothing was ever wrong from birth till now. Like you never got traumatized, you've never been lied to, your parents never tricked you or, said I'm gonna leave you, or nobody never, tried to do creepy things as a male to you as a female, or no one never, manipulated you or abused you or yelled at you. Like, say none of that ever happened to you, ever in your life. You don't even know what wrongdoing is. Like, you literally have no knowledge of what mistreatment is. How would you act? Like, imagine it. How would you act if nothing never happened to you that was wrong? Like, you never been mistreated ever from your childhood until now. How would you act? Because that's what behave literally means. Be as if you have everything you need, nothing lacking, nothing. So that includes peace, that includes confidence, like literally everything. You're a total human, like you said, wholesome. You're whole. Nothing never like chipped a piece off of you, like abandonment or abuse. And those, like, it's like a little axe or a hammer, and it knocks a chip off of you, and now you're missing and you're broken because this happened. Now you're broken over here, then broken over here, and your peace is broken, your confidence is broken, your self esteem is broken because somebody spewed words, or some dudes, or you're nothing without me, and you're only, women get broke down a lot by men. I've seen it, and it's terrible. And then a lot, women do it back. There's a lot of women who can be very, their tongues are like swords and really break men. But then, now you're broken, and so you'll be whole if you would behave. Have Colossians 2:9. In him dwells all the fullness of the Godhead bodily, and ye are complete in him. So let me show you an example of why this is the absolute truth. Let's take Adam and Eve, for instance. They were to be as if they had everything they needed because they actually did have everything they needed. Adam and Eve, like, God had so much favor on them. He made them last. God created the earth, water, oxygen, trees, fruit, animals, vegetables, all these things, this whole utopia, water, streams, bushes, berries, it's the sun, the moon, a cool breeze. And he created a whole atmosphere for them and then put them in it. He didn't make Adam and Eve and say, all right, now build your whole own world and work for it. He's kind and he just gave it. And so he gave them everything they needed. So they were expected to behave. Be as if you have everything you need, because you do. What happened? The serpent comes. Guess what you don't have? God knows stuff you don't know. If you eat this, then you'll know some extra stuff. And oh, extra? There's something we don't know? Literally, like, listen to my words right now. This whole entire world got turned upside down and ruined because Adam and Eve did not have. They did not behave. They did not be as if they had everything. Oh, sorry, serpent. We're good. We don't need that. God got us covered. Thanks for the offer. And be on their way. Behave. No, you look for opportunities, like, man, maybe God's tricking us and he's hiding some. That's a red flag, you know? Man, see, I knew God wasn't telling the truth. That's a red flag. God ain't, he's withholding things. Let me get a bite of that. Let me see if I can be like him, man. He knows some stuff we don't know. And he's trying to play us. That's what people be doing. And that's what they did. Behave. Be as, like, literally pretend all the time that nothing's wrong. Not that it's not, but that God has you if you ever need him. You don't have to have everything. You can have access to it. Like, you could have a Ferrari that you paid $600,000 for, and you pull up on me, and I'm just catching the bus every day. Like, look, I got a Ferrari. And then the next day, one of my friends calls me that owns a Ferrari dealership, and is like, hey, you could use, there's 7 Ferraris that I have, and you can use them for free. You can use a different one each day, a different color each day. Just make sure you put gas back in them. You can use them. Now you have the one you broke your back to pay for, and then I have free access to 7 Ferraris whenever I want, different colors, for free. I didn't work for it. It's just what you have access to. You have to have everything, but it's what you have access to. Yep. And Eve got cursed, giving birth, and it's all favor. It's that hedge of protection on you. And so you have access to things that you need. Like, for instance, if a child, they don't have a car, but they have a car. Like, they don't have a car in their name. They don't have a license because they're like 12. So they don't have a license or a car or registration or insurance. But if they need to go somewhere, literally they live in a house with their parents, and their parents have 2 cars in the garage of the house that the child lives in. So it's not like they don't have to have one. Or if I don't have one, then I'm gonna stress out. I'm gonna go grind and get me one. Oh, if my friends say, "Hey, you want to come to this party with us? We're having a birthday party or whatever." You're like, "Oh, you know what? Let me see." Just go ask your friends, "Hey, can you guys give me a ride in the car over there?" And it's like, "All right, cool. You got there. You have access to what you need. You don't have to actually have possessions, you know." And so that's the thing. Like, and again, when you are not used to behaving or being as if you have everything you need, you operate in a lifestyle of lack because you either have or you lack. Lack means you don't have. So if you're in lack, you're going to be in survival mode, like an animal. They're looking, the lion looking for whatever deer or gazelle or buffalo he can sneak up on, and then when they get on him, and I can't lose this, I gotta do whatever, act any kind of way, crawl, claw, scratch, bite, do whatever because this may get away, and that's how you act with minuscule things. People I see people like at the grocery store, they circle around because they want a parking space that's close, will waste a half a tank of gas and 13 minutes of their life that they'll never get back because there's a parking space that's a little closer. Instead of just parking where there's one open a little further back and using the legs God gave you because maybe one day they won't work anymore and you should be glad that they work and take a couple of extra steps to get into the grocery store. But no, people are entitled. They're in survival mode. Mine, mine, mine. Give me. Back up. Oh, you're a red flag. You have bad energy. You give me bad vibes, and all this is stupid stuff. And the world promotes this, and then all the music is saying the same thing. Oh, good vibes, and oh, protect your energy. And if somebody's energy is off, and bro, no one cares about energy. I have this book of commandments, and I have this book of character of God, and I'm gonna get in His presence, and He's gonna radiate that character onto me, and I'm gonna be cool no matter what anyone externally does to me. And I have to do that a lot. There's people that when I'm out and about, people are like, try to play you or say something smart or stuff like that. Oh, whatever, you know, only so far you can go, but I'm gonna, do my best to just behave. I have what I need. I don't need to prove something to someone else. Somebody says something crazy to me, I'm like, hey, who are you talking to? Or what? You want to settle this here? Like, I don't got nothing to prove to anybody. Amen versus Esther. Yeah, some people really do have a bad vibes. No, definitely. There's intentions. There's discernment. And yes, you definitely have to have discernment. But again, that's from God and not from your fantasy land in your head. God gives discernment, and yeah, use it. God, not you. Because again, people are claiming like someone has a bad vibe or what they can discern or recognize because recognizing something is a skill set, right? That's a skill to be able to look at somebody like, man, you weird, you off, right? It's a skill. When it's not discernment, it's a skill. When it's discernment, then it's a gift from the Holy Spirit. A lot of people can't tell between the two. Now, the reason I say it's a skill is because people learned the way they discern through traumatic experiences. Oh man, that the gestures he's doing is what the dude that put his hands on me 12 years ago did. So I think he's bad. Let me watch out. And you tell him, man, keep an eye on him. He ain't good. He got bad vibes. He just moves like this, and that's how they did before they, mugged me or robbed me or took my purse or raped me or whatever, you know. And so that's why I say it's a skill because most of the time people think they're using discernment. All you're doing is doing a trauma response. Literally all you're doing, your discernment you think you have navigating this world, like, oh, I watch out for this, I look out for red flags, and this and this can't stop me. Oh, I caught you. You thought you had me, but I'm slicker, and I was watching you. I got eyes. It's all trauma responses. It's not actual discernment, but there is discernment, and you can have it too. but it's just a lot of the time because people won't discern that they need to treat people right, you know. You know, like me, there's people, there's I had a lot of work I had to do on myself. There's people that I didn't want to forgive. I'm like, man, like literally I'm a Christian rapper, minister, out saving the world and doing stuff, but like if I see so and so, we got to run that back, like like I'm gonna just have to explain it if I get in an interview and say, hey, why was you doing this to this person? Like, nah, like because they think they got me twisted, and that's stupid. Why would I think like that? But I do something. Well, I did, and so it's trauma responses. It's not actual pure discernment from God, because how come I didn't discern that I need to forgive? You know, I didn't discern forgive. So it's like, again, a lot of times we think something's discernment and it's not. It's just we haven't healed and we're trying to survive and we're trying to read signs and read vibes and because again, you're trying to protect yourself and you're like literally you're trying to protect yourself.
So yeah, as I was saying, I don't even know what I left off at, but what I was saying is that a lot of times we don't use discernment because it's trauma responses. It's things that we picked up from survival scenarios, you know. And again, when you're trying to protect yourself, like I was saying, I don't know if you heard me, but it's like if you impersonate a federal agent, that's a punishable crime. It's a punishable crime because they have certain authority to make things happen or make things not happen. And so when you are trying to protect yourself and taking God's job and acting like you can help him or that you can do it better, I, I don't think you're protecting me enough, God. I'm gonna protect myself. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z and stay away from this person and that person so I can protect myself. You can't, you literally, like I said, the story of Job. Job couldn't have put up a big enough boundary or strong enough boundary to protect himself from what God had him go through. Boundaries are literally useless. There is what you go towards and then what you shouldn't go towards. But what comes toward you, that's not your prerogative. That's not your concern. And if something does prevail, somehow there's something that God is doing. Again, like with Job. Job had all this stuff happen to him. Jesus had all this stuff happen to him. The apostles got beat, jailed, killed, stoned, all these things. Check this out, Naz. That question you just asked, why do therapists and etc. teach that? You're never going to heal, and guess what? They need you to not be healed, so you need them. If they got you to actually figure out all your weak points and all your self-sabotaging habits and you got rid of those and you were just sane and didn't need them, their pockets would get slim. You're being monetized. you know they monetize your trauma, you know and so that's really that's the thing. That's why what I'm saying, it's just the Bible, and then it's my own like personal way of thinking. I sit and analyze things all day. I just sit and think like, man, what am I doing backwards? What are people doing backwards? Because this world is just going backwards. So it's like we have to have a hand in it going backwards ourselves individually. So I'm like, man, what am I doing backwards? What are people I know doing backwards? What's the world doing backwards? And then that's how I come up with a lot of these eureka moments and revelations that I have, is because I think this world's backwards. And so I'm like, man, therapists are not telling the truth. And they don't know they're not telling the truth. They don't like what I'm telling you guys. I honestly, wholeheartedly, I don't think people know. I think very few people on this planet know what I'm saying. That's why I'm gonna like try to be a public speaker and just go around and speak, at churches, jobs, events, community events, seminars, workshops, conferences, stuff like that, and really have people, to the best of God's ability through me, have them set free from their self sabotaging habits of survival. Yeah. And it's like, dude, somebody ever told you to, hey, keep your headphones to a minimum? No one ever told me that. Hey, stop putting up boundaries. They don't work. They're useless. Job couldn't use a boundary. Jesus couldn't use a boundary. So who are you? And then entitlement. Entitlement is the enemy of favor and grace. I don't hear no humans saying any of this stuff, you know? And I really, with all of my being, really want people set free. That's why my burrito's cold. And that's why I'm on here and, you know, mic going out and all this stuff. And it's like we have these, you really have to, like I said, the first thing is stay present because you don't want to be deceived, but you're deceived by your five senses. That's why I'm saying, like, do you know how dangerous, thanks D, but you know how dangerous you'd be when you don't care about your own safety? Do you know the things you would do? You see like daredevils and stunt devils and firemen and police and the thing, and they still care a little bit. Do you know how you know how much you could accomplish and how potent and impactful you would be if you literally didn't care about your safety? What the Bible literally says, don't care for any of these things. The birds don't. Just, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. Do you know what you could focus on if you weren't, you know, like God showed me this. Like, have you ever seen a confident person look back? I actually like thought about that in my head. Like a confident person is walking like a celebrity or somebody just walking in a function, and they're just walking chin up, chest out. Everybody's taking pictures of them. They have their sunglasses on, and they're just the stuff. They're just walking. You don't see them like, guess what though? They also got maybe one or two bodyguards with them. And those people have that task of making sure this guy's safe. So guess whose job is not to think about safety? It's that person's. So they're very confident. They're not looking back. These people are looking back. The bodyguards and the security, they're the ones looking back. So I'm not. And the Bible says to be confident. Good night, D. Um, have a great day at work, and I'm gonna try to do more lives. But appreciate you. They doing that the homeless thing too. I know you got work. I got work too. But yeah, Naz, confident. Like, the Bible commands us to be confident, and so literally think of instances of confidence and see if somebody's looking around. That's not confident. That's worrisome. That's fearful. So again, there you can see that there's something that decreases in you when you start thinking about your safety. That's why I preach that you need to know that you're favored, because favor is safety. It's a lot of faith, Naz. Yeah, I'll keep you tuned in. Just kind of look for the alert if I'm live. D. But yeah, so Nez, it says, when the Bible says to be confident because it has rewards, how do you do that? And yeah, it takes a lot of faith, because faith is always tested. Faith actually has to be faith. So you can't just have faith, it has to be tested. It's like gold. I can't just hand you something shiny and say it's gold and then you try to go exchange it for money. They're going to test it. They have to. So faith is tested by these things called circumstances. Circumstances are only here to put your faith on trial. Because if God said the end from the beginning and then told you to do something, He already conceived from before you existed to after you existed and everything in between. So if He's telling you to do something and you're like, but what if this happens and that happens? He's already literally can see the whole timeline of your whole life simultaneously while talking to you. Not like the fear of anything, like, it's pointless. So the confidence comes when you believe God. When Peter beheld the face of Jesus and he stayed looking at him, he could walk on water. The moment he took his eyes off of Jesus and looked down, he started sinking in the water. You have to keep your eyes on what God said and keep your eyes on God. And look, because the action, like literal, the gesture you do when Peter was walking on water, his face was straight and his chin was up because he was looking forward. He put his head down and he started sinking. So remember how I just said earlier about the confident person is walking around. Their chin is up. They're not doing all this stuff. Boom. Walk as if you're staring at the face of Jesus. So where people like, have people ask you who you think you are. That's how much confidence you want to walk into a room with. So where people are like, yo, who do you think you are? Why are you just walking around, chest all out, chin all up? You think you own this place? Like, make people say that, you know? But so, again, confidence is present when fear is not. And then fear of what? When you're fearful, you think you're going to end. That's why favor, if you look at my stuff, my merchandise, my clothing, it communicates this message that favor is the protection to continue. So favor is not just protection. In totality, favor is the protection to continue. Noah, God gave him an ark, which was the protection to continue. So when the whole world got wiped out, Noah and his family didn't. They continued. The other families of the world, they ended. Favor is the protection to continue. When you don't think you'll continue, you're going to act fearful and not in confidence. And then you're going to, entitlement, fear, unforget, all these things surface. And that's just why, again, those are impurities. That's when you're not pure gold, all the impurities they surface when heat comes. That's how they purify gold. If you have gold and it's impure, they put it in fire and they put it in like the boiling stuff, and then the gold boils, and then the impurities, they float to the top. And then they scoop out all the impurities, and then what's left is the actual gold. But heated situations will cause impurities to surface. And that's why when you think you're something you're not, and you think you're entitled, and you think you're pure gold, when a heated situation comes, you thought you was a holy person with great character and you love God and you demonstrated the word of God all the time, and then somebody cuts you off in traffic and you just cuss them out, or your child's get on your nerves and you go crazy, or somebody's talking crazy and you want to fight them, and it's like that heated situation made those impurities surface. And so you have to, I'm telling you guys, number one, like from the beginning of this video, like I said, take the headphones off. Stop zoning out into fantasy land and stay in reality. Be in the present. Stop, like, don't be in your head. Don't be in your head, because you can develop all kinds of identities and characteristics that are, they're not able to be held to an accountability standard. Exactly. Now, Nez, check this out. Why do people want to zone out and escape? Typically because there's pain and trauma. And so that's why, people are trying to zone out, and people freak me out. They're always trying to do me dirty, so I want to block out the people. This Bible God gave us, it demands a certain behavior from us. No ifs, ands, or buts. No compromise. No meet me halfway. Do it all. This is how you should behave. Now, well, except what if they did me wrong? They did Jesus as wrong as you can possibly do somebody. They literally did Jesus Christ wronger than is capable of being done. He got done the wrongest in human history. There's literally no excuse to cope, to misbehave, to be entitled. All these things are, again, they're things because the devil hurts us. And then, like you said as earlier, people have hurt you, and then you respond in various ways with cutting them off, zoning out, all these things. That was the goal of why the devil hurt you. That's why you have to not be a slave to the devil or impulse. Like if you say, oh, I don't want to do this or that, I'm never going to get mad at people. And I just make it a goal of mine to press your buttons to show you, no, you ain't healed yet. Watch. Button, 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 button. Manipulation, this and that, and then you finally respond and blow up on me. That was my whole goal. And I won, and you're a slave to me. Because I can get you to do what I want you to do. For free. Without paying you. As a slave. So that's why when people hurt you, you have to let it go. You literally have to let it go, or else that hurt puts you literally in slavery. Because from then, if someone, mugs you at night, takes your purse at night, and now literally forever, every time you walk to your car at night from work or from the gym or from a party or from anything, somebody has to walk with you. Oh, I'm afraid, and somebody might get me. And every day for like 30 more years of your life, we just got, this one incident has you responding in all these ways. Somebody's, you're like, hey, walk with me down to my car real quick, and but I gotta go, and man, yeah, my life's in danger, and all these things in your head, and you cutting people off just because they won't walk you to your car. I thought you were my friend. If you were my friend, you care for my safety, you walk me to my car. It's not their fault. You got hurt by the devil 10 years ago, and you refuse to heal and be accountable and have confidence, and you just rather cut people off and blame it on them than you fix or allow God to fix you into his character. And again, the stuff I'm saying, it's to me too. There's all conduct, man. I will cut somebody off. I'll ignore you in your face. And I still do it sometimes. People that I've cut off or blocked on Facebook, and they'll see me in real life, and you're still blocked in real life. I literally won't respond to you. It's probably funny if you see it happen, but literally there's people that will try to talk to me, and I will literally not respond. I'll be talking to a group of people, and they come up, hey, blah, 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 and I'm just, yeah, so anyways, bro, if you got me to block you online, you must have did some, I have a lot of patience. And patience and patience and patience and compassion until there's none. If you've done whatever you did to get blocked, I don't take it back, you know? And it's like whatever, you know? And whatever, that's just how it is right now. And so I'll do that, I'll cut somebody off, and I shouldn't, and so that's why I'm saying these things. There's wisdom in not answering a fool. Exactly. Again, but that's a response. When you answer a fool, that's a response. Sometimes they want you to answer because they want you to be a fool. And you gotta be like, I'm not your slave. You don't get a response. Because this is the thing, when you get traumatized, like as you probably got traumatized very early in life. Some of your first traumas were probably as a child, whatever they may be. Different things that scarred you. The thing is, we are all who we were as a child. Every single human on this planet is who they were as a child, except just with more responsibilities. That's really all you are. You're a child, but you just have a bunch more responsibilities. When you were a child, you didn't have a cell phone bill. You didn't have to go to the bank. You didn't have to do your taxes. You didn't have to, date. Like all these things. Like there's more responsibilities you have. Now, when I say more responsibilities, you're able to respond to things as a child, but you've only been alive so long, so you only have so many ways you can respond. There's only so many ways you can respond. But as you get older, you have way more ways to respond to things. And those are abilities. These are the ways to respond. So you have more response abilities. Your ability to respond. So when you're an innocent child, you really can only respond with innocence and kindness. You know? Once you start knowing humans suck and you start getting done dirty and manipulated and backstabbed because humans show themselves and this world sucks, then you want to start trying to safeguard yourself from all those things and play God. Like, oh, you know what? Nah, not again. Because it hurts. When you get played or traumatized, it's pain. It hurts. And we don't like it. It's like somebody pressing a wound. You're like, hey, stop. We have to literally trust God in complete just faith, like loony crazy faith, to just like, I don't need to protect myself. God has me. Because he's either a good father or he's a bad one. He will protect you or he won't. He's not gonna like, well, sometimes, you know, he will. But then, like I said, if there's character development, there's things that you must go through that he's gonna allow, and you gotta take him on the chin, like Job. So that's really what I have tonight. And I just hopefully you guys are you know this, oops. Hopefully you guys are learning something or being fed, or you're gonna apply these things. But like I said, stop. Like if you go to the gym or you go out, don't wear headphones. Try it. Go like a month with no headphones. Oh, my pleasure, Naz. You know, get rid of expectations, get rid of the way somebody needs to treat you, put the headphones away here and there. I'm not saying don't have headphones because, it's cool or recreational and all that, but like try it. If you go to the gym or you're going like when you jog with no headphones. Don't try to protect yourself from the creeps and all that. You know, no, number one, have the courage and the confidence to just say no. Like, don't. I'm not gonna use headphones if I don't want to talk to you. Like, nope, and just keep. Because that's an excuse to not respond the way we really want to respond to people sometimes. And really, it's okay to tell people I don't feel comfortable talking to you. I'm gonna be on my way. You have a watch on, trying to come and ask me what time is it, to start conversation with me, but I'm trying to, you know, do some cardio. Have the confidence to be unapologetically yourself or who God called you to be. And sometimes it's people that don't talk to you. But then, like I said, also sometimes God can do anything. Sometimes it may be a creep that tries to stop you, and you just start ministering to him. And he breaks down like, man, I had all the worst intentions when I came up to you, but God wrecked me right now, and whatever. We just can't play God, and so like I said, try to no headphones. Like, go jog, go work out, go around, and just be present. Take in the birds chirping, the wind, all the stuff. Try it out, and then, like I said, stay present. Stop having fantasies about anything. That way, you can let actual dreams be dreams from God. You can let His promises be the promises of God, and you don't mix those with the things you want in your fantasy world. Because that's what people do. They kind of blend a dream from God with fantasy and unrealistic expectations, along with something God promised, and they just misquote the Bible. And God will, never will do this and do that. Like, no, you just don't want Him to. You're mixing God's word and promises with your fantasy. That's why you got to get rid of fantasy so dreams can hit harder. God's promises can hit harder. People's kindness can hit harder because you're not entitled to their kindness. So when they are kind to you, it hits like, man, thank you. Man, you're a thank you. I'm so glad you did that. You just made my day. You know. And so yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead and get off here, but I'll be getting back on here and there. God bless you guys. And like I said, yeah, go watch my YouTube. I have a bunch of videos on this stuff. Well, not a bunch, maybe like 5 or 4. But yeah, go on my YouTube channel and check out some of my videos and my lives. And I have other videos expounding on this stuff. But God bless you guys.